Hey crew, how's it going today? I hope you guys are well. Today we are doing something a little different. Today we are combining mobility with stretching. So we're going to focus on the knees and we're going to focus on the ankles. Lots of places that most of us have a lot of pain, a lot of inflexibility, a lot of spaces that we are cut. We cannot move into, seats. Like we cannot sit on our legs most of the time. All the toes really hurt, or there's just a lot of pain in the knees. So I figured today, let's work on the spaces. Let's work on opening up new territory with a bit of movement, and then we'll add a bit of stretch. So before we get started, you'll need a towel. Something like this works perfectly well. It doesn't have to be too big, but we're going to roll it up into like a sausage roll and going to use it for the knees for deep stretch. So pause the video, go get yourself a towel, and then let's get to it. So assuming you've done that, let's move and groove. Let's get the legs into the game. So first, let's wake up the toes. So sit onto your toes. Like sit onto your heels, not onto your toes. And take your fingertips and get your pinky toe into the game. And notice the stretch. The moment you do that, you feel the stretch. So before we stretch into the toes, let's get a bit of movement. So come up on your knees, take your toes out, point them out, and sit back. Simple. Now come back onto your knees, tuck your toes, and sit back. So just do that a few times, tucking, untucking, sitting. Even if you can't go all the way down, let's say when you sit, you come to just about here, don't worry about it. Come to a degree that you feel comfortable, come to a degree where you feel at ease, where the space feels something that you can work with rather than try to push into it. And the only thing you got to focus on is your breathing and your posture. So make sure your chest is on top of your hips. Don't lean forward too much, don't lean back too much. Just keep it nice and casual, keep it groovy, keep it moving. Maybe with a little bit of a smile, you can come forward, stand tall if you like. Stand tall on your knees. That's a weird thing to do, but notice what that feels like. Just a few more. Moving forwards, coming up, going down. Notice if you're making more space, maybe, just maybe, you notice you're able to sit a little deeper. You're able to, maybe your knees stretch, maybe your toes stretch. And this time, when you sit down on your heels, stay there for a moment. All right, get yourself comfortable. Take your fingers, get your toes in the game. Your pinky toes, get them in the game. And try and take your knees like an inch or two ahead. Oof. You'll notice your toes start talking to you. Sit and breathe. Sit and breathe. If you like, maybe you can take it an inch further. Notice, oh my God, that talks to me. You'll feel something new in the toes, especially I feel it in my pinky toes more than the more than the big toe. Find your breath. I know this is incredibly tough to begin with, but we're not here long. We're here just for a few breaths, so hang in there. Smile into the stretch. Having good, healthy feet is such a game changer, especially when you have back pain, when you have any kind of pain in the hips. Many times it's got to do with the feet. The toes are not moving enough, so the calves get caught, the femurs just don't have space to move. So give yourself that moment. So again, I'm talking to you to distract you, but if you're done, come on your knees. Oh my God, that should feel good. Tap your toes down. If you have a wall, a chair, maybe hold it. I have a rail, lucky me. Tap your toes, and this time, try and sit back try and sit on your ankles, if you can. If you can't, take a yoga block. I'm sorry, I do not have one with me today, but if you have one, place it in between your legs, under your bum. Bring the ground up to you, do not worry. If you have a cushion, if you have a pillow, just make the space, Add it in. Don't worry about it. It's all good. All right. So, one of the things we do right now is if you feel comfortable, if this is difficult for you, no need, skip this exercise. You can come back to it another day when you feel comfortable. But if you feel comfortable, place your hands back and try and lift the knees up just a little bit. It can be like a centimeter off the ground, it can be an inch off the ground, it can be a foot off the ground. Again, I have more space in my ankles because I do this a lot because, it's my job. And I have a lot of space because of that. So please don't judge your space based on mine. Your practice is different. All we are aiming for is for sensation. We are just aiming to feel something today in a space that we feel comfortable. So let's go with that. So you could be not moving, just sitting could be a challenge, and that could be a stretch that's enough for you, which is perfectly okay. But if you want something new, if you want something different, you want to find some more space, try and lift up, see if there's something else in your body today that's talking to you. Find your breath, stay. And if you're a super yogi, or you just have a lot of space in your ankles, try and lift your hands up, or maybe just take your hands, place it on your knees. Again, not a requirement in the slightest. Not a requirement in the slightest. You can place your hands back. Just keep the spine straight. Do whatever calls out to you. Be here just for a few breaths. We stretch the toes. So now it'll be nice. It feels really nice to stretch the other side, the opposing muscle groups. Having good ankle flexion is so important because we don't stretch into these spaces enough, and it improves our game, especially if we are running. Anyway, come out of it. Come out of it. I'll keep talking while you move. So tap your toes. Notice how that feels. Maybe sit back on your toes, but not too far. Just something casual. You can open up your feet for a second, or you can just take your legs out and give it a bit of a stretch. It should feel really nice before we go into the next one. So yeah, if you spend a lot of time on your feet, if you spend time running or just walking, this should feel really good, especially if you're working towards mobility. It improves your ability for mobility. What a beautiful thing. What a beautiful thing to have. What a beautiful space to be in. All right. Now is a little bit of an intense stretch for your knees, but we're going to go into it very lightly, very easily, very casually. So grab your towel and maybe take it like the semi-long end, not too long. Maybe I'll take mine on the longest, and we'll see where to go from there. Just make it into a sausage roll. Oh, actually, I'm going to take it halfway through. All right. Yoga teachers are indecisive. All right. I'm going to make it into a halfway roll, like a sausage roll, halfway through. So you can pick what works for you. You can make it as fat or as thin as you need, and you'll understand why. So get your feet not touching, but to a degree that feels comfortable. Take the sausage roll and place it under your knees. So the space where your knees and calves are going to touch, place it in there, and slowly try and sit down. Ooh. Oh my god, that is intense. You can always come out of it if that is too much. Adjust it, move it in a little bit. Weird to say move the sausage roll into your knees, but we are here, it's part of the game, it's part of the journey today. So have a seat, and you can feel the stretch already. You can do this with your toes planted as well, in case you can't be on your shins. That makes it more intense. I'll be on this journey with you and then maybe shift on to the shins after that. So notice, and we just sit. We sit and breathe. We don't really do anything else. We just sit and breathe right now. Find your breath. Take a few moments for you. Deep breaths. Deep breaths for you. Feel all the ligaments and tendons in your knees stretching. I've noticed when I do these kind of stretches, it helps me with stretching, with avoiding injuries in my ACL and PCL, common sports injuries, and this really makes a difference. So take a few moments, breathe. You should be inhaling as much as you can, bring your stomach out. Exhaling nice and slow, dropping the shoulders. Sigh if you like, it's always a nice place to be. A nice feeling to establish within your body. You feel a sense of space, a sense of letting go, a sense of peace. Notice if your knees start letting go a bit more. I'm going to come onto my ankles and see if that makes a difference. Notice if your knees start letting go. It's a bit of a yin style stretch today. We started off with mobility and we're ending with a bit of yin. Two of my favorite things. So deep breaths. Deep breaths. Feel your knees open up. Breathe into your knees, breathe into your ankles. We're almost done. Just a few more breaths. Breathe into the toes. I know that's not actually possible, but it's the intention that counts. It's like we're sending our attention down to the bottoms of our feet. Almost done. Just a few breaths. Maybe two more. If this is too much, you can always come out of it. You don't have to stay. But if you need more, you can always pause the video. You can stay here for as long as you need, as long as your body calls out to you. And if you feel you're done, come out of it. Take a moment, just be on your knees for a second. Roll the shoulders back. Notice how that feels. Open up the neck. And that's it. You can let the towel go. You can roll back. You can roll your legs out. Shake them out. Oh, that should feel really nice. My knees feel so good. Windshield wiper, maybe. Take your legs and just drop them or extend them. Notice how you feel. Maybe you have a sense of freedom in your legs. Maybe a sense of freedom in your knees. Maybe your hamstrings suddenly wake up because we pull the knees so much, but we forgot that the hamstring also is something that we stretch into. So take your hands, rub them, create a bit of heat, just rub your knees. Give them some love. They do so much for you. We're always standing, we're running, we're doing crazy things, and we forget to say hello. We forget to give our knees some love. So that's it. That is a stretch today for our ankles and knees and toes, bonus toes stretch as well. So you can always come back to this class. I know some of these movements are really intense in case if you're not used to it. If you don't spend too much time on your toes, it can be intense. But please, please, please do not be intimidated by that. This is a practice and it's not perfect. It takes time and it's just one of those things we got to come back to over and over again. And the moment it works, you will notice a change within your body and you'll feel really good throughout the process, not just at the end of it. So I hope you had a good time and please do come back and visit this place, play, have fun, and I hope this resonates with you and your body. My name is Varun. Thank you for practicing with me. Have a wonderful day. Peace.